You're listening to Productivity Monsters in the Morning. We are the energy volt your real estate business needs to get you up and out and excited and productive for the day. We go over trending topics and things that really matter in the market of the moment. Here are your hosts, Tiffany Hampton and Brooke Silva.
Good morning, my friend. Welcome back.
Good morning. Welcome back. I'm sure we have a lot of groggy friends in the KW environment whose brains are trying to
absorb,
retain, right? Like,
because it was a lot. Yeah, a lot. But I will say, and we've talked about it, because when I knew that he was the keynote speaker, I read his book. Ed Mylett did not disappoint.
No, and there was not a dry eye in that place. I was watching it from a satellite place while I was working at the tech booth, and not a single one of us were talking because we were all, and people who I've never seen cry in my life were a mess. Like, grown men were sobbing.
Well, he was dynamic. So if you do not know who Ed Mylett is, our first action item is to Google him. His YouTube channel is amazing.
Yes, it is.
And you had a quote that you liked.
Yes.
You shared with me.
Yep. It said, self-confident people share one habit in common, and that is the ability to keep the promise they make to themselves.
Right. Do you know how guilty some of us are? I mean, all of us are, of not keeping the promise we make to ourselves.
I know. Oh gosh, do I know? So today's affirmation is, I follow through on my commitments.
Yeah. So the one thing that he talked about in his book was the 21-day week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously there's only 7 days in a week. And yet you have this ability to really change the way you look at things by making little changes, right? So I created, that's my 21-day week, right? Because there's literally, if you break down one day into 3 days, how much more are you going to get done?
So much,
right?
So much. And I think too, with the way he talks about that, you may no longer fear time blocking or be as intimidated by it as most agents are. You know, one of the things we talk about is when they're not hitting their goals, they're not getting where they thought they would be. We ask to look at their calendar.
Yep.
And there's nothing. Well, I'm time blocked in here. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that.
100%. And when I look at so we all have projects, right? I have 8 to 9 things in my life that I need to touch every single week, right?
Same.
And, from family to personal responsibility to the different businesses to the responsibilities with the region. So, like today, because last week was really I don't even know what last week was. It was a lot.
I know.
So my first, I have set up where I have our project blocks. So now I take, and we've talked about in the past, the 411 and the GPS. So now I take my 411 for the week and I put it into my project box.
Yep.
And we just go from there.
We have to get to a point where we're looking at our goals and did I keep the promise I made to myself today? And I think I know we said we were done with the 411 talk, but we're not, because it comes up everywhere. It's, if you're really sticking to your GPS and your 411 and you're reanalyzing and saying, okay, what went different than I expected? What are those obstacles and how can I make it I don't hit those obstacles again? Because sometimes we also get hyper-focused. I know when I'm more passionate about some projects than another, I get hyper-focused.
Right. Well, and I think where some of us fall down is we don't analyze our day.
Right.
The one thing that he talked about is he's got his morning routine and his evening routine, right? In the morning, he's like, what what am I proud of? What do I want to accomplish? And in the evening is what went well, and what would I do differently? And looking at your goals for tomorrow. And we all know to do this. And yet that's why we're so big on education and reading and learning, because you have to be reminded over and over and over and over again.
We do. We do this with our kids. If you notice, when you sit down at the dinner table at night, it was like, we always ask Hope, what was your favorite part of the day? And she usually tells us, and without even us having to prompt, like, what would you have done different or what was difficult today? She just word vomits on it, because it's not, what did you do today? Because it's sick, she can't remember. But we condition our kids and our family members to do these things for us, but we don't do it to ourselves.
Right.
At all. And my tech action for you guys today is going to be time block at least one thing. Tiffany talks about time blocking all the time. I do as well. Are these things in your top 20? If they're not, can you leverage them out? Or what else can you do by doing so makes everything unnecessary, right? Or easier from one thing. So my tech action for you today is to add an additional reminder to notifications. You can do that right in your Google Calendar or your iCal. You can actually go in and edit and add more notifications. Sometimes I need that extra, ding on the wrist, or I need it to come up on my computer a day earlier or 2 days earlier to really get me, or even 5 minutes before or 5 minutes after the appointment has started. I have a lot of fun things I want to put into play, and I have to figure out the order of them so that I don't get stuck in that time suck of, I'm excited about this because I've got other things to do. Right. I can't get hyper focused on one project. I can break it down into a 21-day week so that I do keep the promises to not only myself, but my family and the people I support in our region.
Well, and that's what I loved about like the layout of the 21-day week, right? The morning. So I get up at 4:30. I don't have to deal with Chris until 6:15. So from 4:30 to 6:15 is really the me time. 6:15 to 7 is when I spend time with him. And then in the evening, what does that look like, right? We're not telling you to time block your life business only. Right. Time block your life, your business, your family, what's important to you, what you enjoy doing in life, really separate it out, right? And then I would just say, The Power of One More is a book that you definitely want to read, and Google, YouTube, and Mylett, because some of the stories he will tell are just over the top, and it will make you think differently. We only get one shot at this life, and why waste it?
I love it. All right, friends, go find Ed Mylett. We are still recovering from California and family reunion. It is not tomorrow yet, somewhere else. And we can't wait to tell you some of the stories if you see us in the region. All right.
I'll see you later.
See you tomorrow.